2/3 of my life, has been spent either at a racetrack, in a race shed, working on a race car, at a car wash. That's become my life. So more than most people, more than people sleep, I've done. That's what my life's been around. So like the hours that you added up, you just think, wow, you kind of get a bit of appreciation why it becomes somebody's life. And
sure.
But like you're talking about, listen to country music, and it's funny because I love country music. And someone said the other day, well, why do you listen to it?
Yep.
Because it's to me it's relaxing. Like you talk about driving the truck, and and you get angry and you get upset and it's just something little on the road happens and you just get upset and angry but like if you listen to something different, like I listen to country music because to me it's relaxing, it's calming. I'm a hyper person anyhow.
You are.
So it don't take much. It don't take much for me to get wound up. And it doesn't matter whether it's angry or it's happy. There's only that little bit that it's like I can just be 100% just like that.
And each person needs their trigger to get them into that.
So when you do the driving and all that, and you're driving down the road, I listen to the country music. To me, it's calming. It's relaxing and something happens where no big deal. But if I was listening to music where it was a bit more upbeat and going like a bit more, I don't know how you'd word it, just a bit more
aggressive or different. Music's all emotions.
It is.
It takes
exactly
you to a certain
right. So where if you listen to Metallica, which I like Metallica, don't get me wrong, but for me that's not a driving music. Some people it just helps keep them awake. To me, if I'm listening to Metallica and I'm driving into Brisbane or into Sydney, I'm just like I'm ready to just fight somebody to run them off the road. Like it's like go get it in your own lane. You just get real aggressive. Where listen to country music, you just to me that's calming and it's just I can relax listening to it and just drive down and I don't get upset, and it's funny like you're saying about how you got onto this podcast stuff, and it was relaxing to you. That was your trigger thing that you can switch off and just relax and listen to something without it really affecting your emotions, either happy or sad, happy or mad, that you get more into what somebody else is saying. Like, you still concentrate on what you're doing, don't get me wrong, but it's just a different...
Yeah, like I was eavesdropping in on a conversation.
Right. A totally different mentality.
That's exactly right. That's really true, actually. Like, I've been in cover band lately, and so that was just to do something different on the weekend, a second job, and then I realised, in between the hours we play, you need to put on 20 minutes of music. So I get my iPhone out and put on music. And I instantly I was like, oh no, what do I put on? And I've grown to realise that you can put on different kinds of music and it'll change everyone's attitude in the room. It's just exactly like what you're saying. So someone asked us to do a barn dance a couple of times actually.
Yeah.
And I went, oh wow, barn dance, that sounds pretty fun. So I made everyone wear a cowboy hat for a start, but we play rock music, right?
Yeah.
And I thought, in between songs, I'm going to have to put on some country music. So I got the Country 100 favourites off iTunes and downloaded it, and I still listen to it to this day. Stuff like, but really like the real original Dolly Parton stuff, and then it made me remember growing up with my uncle, and he'd always play that on 4KQ on the radio, and but again, it changes people's attitude on the night. So in between these sets, I can't play country. I've learned that it's sort of in a pub. It has to be this certain sort of
it'd be too many different emotions.
You want people to be upbeat and chatty, blah 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 blah. So. Yeah, man, I can really understand the power of all that now.
It's wild, isn't it? Just different, I guess. Like
yeah, definitely. And I'm going to say it. We just spoke for about 20 minutes, at least 20 minutes, and the old battery went flat. But I really want you to say it again because it's. I'm going to start again, but without starting again, so we go on a different turn, but.
Just pick it up. Yeah, pick it up and see how we go.
Yeah, see, Bingo Jenkins. I've known you for like 10 years.
Everybody listening, there's a bit of... I just gave Drew a bit of a thumbs up because it was... It was just funny.
I've known you for about 4 years, 10.
Yeah, really, something like that. And then it started out with we didn't even get the name right. Didn't even get what Jennings or
Jensen.
Jensen, yeah. Yeah. And it was funny. So I gave him a thumbs up. This time he got it right. If everybody listened, there was a bit of a hidden joke. He had to be here in person to get that one.
And I wish you had a tape recorder when you did. Yeah. No, see, I really, I find it really interesting from someone to have, And who's this?
This is Nick Landman or Reagan. He's come. He comes around and gives us a hand working on the race car.
Oh, for real? Yeah, all right, I'm going to say it right now. Hey, Nick, you're live on air. Hey, man. We're at Bingo's Titan Racing race shed somewhere in Greenbank.
In the middle of nowhere.
And, so you've grown up with sprint cars, right?
Yeah, just something. My dad's owned a car since before I was born. So I just grew up. That was something it's the only thing I ever wanted to do. Like I said, my dad's owned a car, and I guess that was kind of our connection.
What did he?
Just loved it.
Yeah, his dad before him?
No, it had nothing to do with it. He was the only one in his family that ever wanted to have anything to do with racing.
So, but he had his business partner.
Yeah, and that was like they were friends growing up. And I guess
maybe it was him.
It could be. Like you said, it's funny you say that because his Scott Mertz, which was his business partner, he was a big rev head. He was always into the big motors and the souped up cars, like street cars and all that. But he wanted and that's back when you're talking horsepower days. Like now you've got all electronic fuel controlled and it's just different than what it used to be.
Yeah.
But when they were younger, it was all carburetors and big motors and
pull it out.
450 Fords, just an actual real muscle car.
Yeah.
Which unfortunately, they were, I guess that's my perspective because I see them. And yes, they make more power now with all the turbos and everything, but to me, that's not like the old cars, the old real muscle cars, the old steel cars, and you'd run into a tree and you just put a little dent in it.
Let's take those pipes off and redesign the extractors and see if we can get a little bit more.
That's it. So you probably could have got him interested in the racing side of it because, like you said, none of his family ever had anything to want to do with it, I suppose. And
sit down, man.
Yeah. So it just I don't know. He's been around it. Is what he wanted to do, and and he was involved with it before he ever owned one, and then he wound up owning one, and I grew up, and that was the time that I got to spend with him. My dad was either racing or working. That was all he did. As a kid, never got to see him much.
Yeah.
Unless we went away racing, and maybe that's why. I guess initially that might be why I wanted to go do it. And to be honest with you, we never really got along. My dad and I, growing up, we just. I don't know. He was always gone, and and I did my thing,
But he was hooked. Now you can probably understand it.
Yeah, and that's exactly right. And as I got older, we had our conversations.
Gene Jenkins, who I've seen in Australia a bunch of times now.
Yeah. So it was good, and then that's what I want to do. It was just something. I think it probably did. My dad and I, we've talked. We're really close. And it probably did start out as just something I wanted to do to spend more time with him and be around him. But then it changed into being my own passion, my own thing that I wanted to do. And then it's something that I want to do more than anything else in the world. Like we were talking before, it's such an addictive thing that you can't get enough of it. You want to do it, and you can't. Like we were talking about before the battery went flat.
Yeah.
Like we do. Anywhere between 80 to 100 plus races a year, and you do that. Like you start the second week of February over home. It ends normally the second week of November. So for about 8 months? You got November, December. Yeah, so about 8-9 months you're away racing. You travel all over the place, and that's the elite of the elite, And where I grew up in Pennsylvania, the local racers. Say 10 years ago. I mean, I don't know what it is now because obviously I've been here for 7 years now full time. That's like 10 years ago. People racing between Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and Ohio. So a 10 to 12 hour radius from the longest points. You could race, and they're racing between them. So like Brisbane to Sydney, that's all the differences. Yeah. They were racing 110, 117 nights a year. Just running local. So I mean in Pennsylvania there's such a big thing around racing. I I don't know if he never really had an option for something else, being grown up that my dad's owned one that, and you get mixed into it, like we were saying, it's a family.
Your friends, the people you know.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And you make your friends in there, and like we were talking before, like how when I joined the Outlaws, when I went and worked on the road with the Outlaws, it was a totally different thing that you did, and that became your family. That became your family and your friends, and it's different now than what it used to be. Like I remember, like I said, I was very fortunate. I got to grow up racing with, being on this road, not with, but be on the road when Carl Kinzer was on the road, the Scott Gergens were on the road, the Jimmy Cars, like I got to see Steve Kinzer race, Danny Lasowski, just names that are huge, Sammy Swindell, same thing, like it's just, I got to know all them people.
The prime, seriously, when you were on the road,
big names.
It was the prime Sammy and Steve rivalry.
Exactly right. That's funny because I like Sammy. I reckon
Jack.
Yeah. I can tell you some stories about him. I've got the part. Actually, Steve Smith used to drive my dad's race car.
Wow.
Not Stevie. Steve Smith's dad.
Or?
Yeah, definitely coilover fronts and all that, plastic wheels. Like I remember when, he used to run plastic wheels in the race cars for weight. Steve Smith, Old Man Smith, massive on his rotating weight.
On his what?
Rotating weight, like any of the weight that's rotating, like
weight.
Yeah. So like I think 1 pound of rotating weight is equal to 6.8 mass pounds.
Wow.
And Old Man Smith was big on it. That was just massive. You can cut down the rotating weight. It doesn't take as much horsepower to get it started. It doesn't take as much to get it slowed down either.
Wow.
So it was. I grew up in an awesome era for the racing. And I'm fortunate that that's what I've wanted to do, and I'm fortunate how I grew up that I got to be able to do it.
Think about it. It was before Facebook. It was before mobile phones. It really was an era. Like,
and that's what
So when you were on the road, you were in a bubble of we are the circus. Really
exactly
were.
Right.
The circus was coming to town, and everyone came to see. No one knew any news apart from what people. Oh, they're coming. They're coming. Like this thing that. How long's the Outlaws been on?
I forget now. Have to be 40 years probably, or better. Might even be longer than that. Might be longer than that. I'm not real sure when they originally started. Might be 50 years when they originally started.
When you first started, did you go, wow?
Yeah, like
you obviously knew.
I knew exactly what it was.
I'm in an outlaw team.
And then when I first went on the road, it was like, wow, this is really cool. Like, and that's what I wanted to do. That's all I wanted to do. Like, and that's one of the things that probably why I did it for. I was 9 years on the road, full time. 4 years of the 9 years of being on the road, I lived in a hotel every single night of my life.
That's crazy.
I lied, not every single night. I think I spent at home in my parents' house. I think I go home a couple days for Thanksgiving. And then at one stage I was going home a little bit for Christmas. Like I think Thanksgiving I was home for about 3 or 4 days. Then Christmas I was only home for a couple of days. And then it wound up being that we came to Australia to race for your dad, Reeve Croc, here in Australia over the Christmas time. So I really only ever got to go home for Thanksgiving for a couple of days, and then was back to the race shed getting stuff ready to go for the following season. And then when we were back, we were over summertime here, our wintertime in the States. So the December, January, we're here racing in Australia. So then you get back, we fly back to the States, and you're ready to go racing again down in Florida. So you did, and it's funny that we're talking about, your life and so a totally different, different lifetime ago, and different things. Yeah. How much time, like I said before, we figured out with my dad, we sat down, we were having a beer last year when he was here last year talking. Wow, you kind of get a bit of appreciation why it becomes somebody's life. And, and you do, and the worst part, that's all you really become to get to know. When you do it that long, the rest of the outside world just becomes a blur. And it has, and it really, really has.
This is heavy, but when they say you could be a champion boxer or a skateboarder, they spend their entire time training. The difference between them and the guy that just goes to the gym or something is that you're either living what you want to do or you're not.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Just full time or not, but it's not. You're not even. I know you. You're not even thinking that way.
No.
It's just what your day is.
Yeah,
your day is that, and you got to get these things